Good morning. If you weren't awake, you are now. Okay. We're going to sing our gathering hymn for this month. Here we have gathered. Please rise and embody your spirit as you sing hymn number 360. And there are still no words up on the screen. So if you need a hymnal, we are using both of them today. Please raise your hand and someone can bring you one. But please rise and embody your spirit.
Our chalice lighting for today is A Wild and Holy Vision by Sean Gibson. Oh, can you hear me now? Okay. The chalice lighting today is A Wild and Holy Vision by Sean Gibson. There are 4 sentences. I will say each sentence, and then you can repeat since we aren't going to see it up here. We light our chalice in the spirit of transformation. Nothing stays the same.
Nothing stays the same.
Everything moving, shifting, changing.
Everything moving, shifting, changing.
Guide us all to a wild and holy vision of our shared humanity.
Guide us all to a wild and holy vision of our shared humanity.
Good morning. I'm Erica, the Vice President of the Board, and it is my joy to welcome you to St. John's Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Here we are, a community of love, courage, and companions on the journey of life. You are welcome here, whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever joys or burdens you carry. You are welcome here if you are certain or questioning, hopeful or heartbroken, grounded or searching. We honor the richness of our community's diversity, racial, cultural, economic, of age and ability, of gender identity and sexual orientation, of belief and doubt. Each of these is a gift that strengthens the whole. There is much happening in the life of our congregation. You can learn more in your order of service, on the screens in the lobby, or in our fellowship hall. For now, please take a moment to silence your cell phones, settle into this space, and know that you are truly welcome. And now we have a special presentation by the Let Us Singers.
To sing Spirit of Life, but to make it our own, we have made up hand motions. So we're going to do it twice. Once with you watching, and then we invite you to join us. And I have one hand motion I want to make a special note about. This, with a fist with your thumb, means help in sign language. And we sing it on the phrase about justice.
Please follow along as I read the affirmation. I think most of you probably know it by heart. And if you don't, maybe you can listen to someone around who does. This is the mission of our faith, to teach the fragile art of hospitality, to revere both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to witness to all that we must hold the whole world in our hands. And now we have the commissioning of our ministerial search team, Wanda and Joetta, and yes.
So this is very exciting to introduce and commission our ministerial search team. And I would like them to come forward. You know who you are. I'll say your names in a moment. And while they're coming up, I would like to introduce the people up here. So Joetta, who's the past president, Erica, who is the vice president and will be president during the first year with our new minister. I'm the current president. So you have tres presidentes, as I like to say, and Reverend Jenn. So you have the executive leadership team of the congregation. Okay? Great, thank you. So, Greg Terhune, Amy Monson, raise your hand as I call your name, please. Alana Oakwood, Monica Pellman, Melissa Rowland. We come here today to commission you as our search team. As the president of St. John's, I, representing the whole congregation, we are grateful for your willingness to serve in this role.
You have been called forth from among the congregation. They placed an important trust in you, asking you to engage in deep and vital work of helping to pick the next minister, to be this congregation's companion on their journey.
We charge you, as members of our developmental search team, to listen to the needs and hopes of your fellow congregants, to care for yourselves and one another, to search for the minister you feel could best companion and lead St. John's, and to ask for help when you need it. May you know that your work matters. May you know that we are here to support you.
Okay, friends in the congregation, please repeat after me. As your board leaders and as your congregation, we now commission you to serve as our search team. For this coming year. Thank you for all you will give us. Amen.
Every week, we make time in our service to ground ourselves in what we value. We celebrate and honor our community by sharing the joys and concerns that have come into our lives in the past week. Here at St. John's, we do this by coming forward to place stones representing all that we carry into the sands that represent the many and unique parts of our beloved community over all the generations we have existed. If you would like a joy or concern to be read, please leave them on the table. And if you are joining us online today, please leave them in the chat, and we will read them all at the end. And we light the candle to represent all that we hold in our hearts and all that exists among our community. Our first concern, sorrow, is shared by Emily. Heartbreaking news that the concert next weekend at Chillicothe Correctional Institute by Kathy Roma's singers has been canceled by the prison for apparent lack of funds for overtime pay for the guards. Over 86 friends were planning to attend, including Charles and me. I'm sorry to hear that. And we have no online joys and concerns today. I invite you into a spirit of prayer and meditation with this witnessing prayer by Kate Steinberg. Spirit of life, love that calls us to love, care that calls us to care, presence that calls us into presence. We give thanks that we have been brought together in this beloved place, this holy sanctuary, this sacred harbor where we bring ourselves as we are in times of sorrow, in times of joy, in times of confusion, in times of fear, in times of clarity, in times of quiet acceptance. In our efforts to pay closer attention to our inner lives, to each other, and to the world around us, may we notice the divine essence today, however it expresses itself. May we cultivate presence and awe while we attune to murmurs, and shimmers within us and around us, whether it be the spark of a new idea, a vulnerable share from someone we love, or unexpected warmth from someone we don't know. May we continue to attune to what Reverend Howard Thurman called the sound of the genuine within ourselves. May we become quiet enough and still enough to notice the call deep within us that lures us toward what matters most. This call that lures us toward freedom and purpose. We ask for guidance and space and time to do just that, so we can lead the lives we feel most called to live. Today, we remember the people who paid close attention to us in our lives. These people have loved us into being through the way they witnessed us. The way they attuned to us both strengthened and transformed us. There may be only one person we think of who has done this throughout our lives. We give thanks to them today. We say, thank you for witnessing me. Thank you for paying close attention to my heart. We also consider someone who may want to be witnessed by us. Perhaps this is someone we haven't met or been able to make time for. Someone we love who dearly wants our attention. May we find a way to say, I'm here with you. I'm paying attention to the stirrings in your heart. May we continue to cultivate the practice of paying close attention so that more people feel lovingly held in our hurting world. May we meet this moment and all the moments ahead with spaciousness and presence. May we deeply and lovingly witness the person in front of us, beside us, and within us. Amen. To come forward for our story for all ages. Our story for all ages today is called Super Tiny, And it is adapted mostly because I only read it 3 or 4 times and can't remember the whole thing well enough to not adapt it. So one time, there was this girl, and what would be a good name for a girl? What? Jane? There we go. There was this girl, Jane, and she really wanted to help people. And so one day, her teacher gave the class an assignment. What's the teacher's name? Jude picked Bill out of those. So Teacher Bill said, I want to give you all an assignment to help different groups of people. And so Teacher Bill gave all the students assignments to help different kinds of groups. What are some groups of people that might need our help? The elderly?
People at churches that don't have homes.
People at churches that don't have homes?
Babies.
Babies? Sick people? Immigrants? Lonely people. People who need food. And in fact, that is the group of people that Jane got. She was asked to figure out a way to help the people who were hungry in their town. And so she went home. You're welcome to join us if you want. She went home and she talked to her grandparents. And she said, okay, so how can we help? And so what they decided to do was they decided to make 100 sandwiches. And they would go to the part of town where most of the people lived and give them out. This sounds like a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of sandwiches.
Right. You have to like sandwiches, right? This is a good clue, Jude. You're catching on. So they made 100 sandwiches, put a piece of fruit in them, and went down to that part of town. And Jane was trying to give them out, but people kept saying, oh, no, thanks, I've already eaten, or no, that's okay, thank you. And finally, this kid named Tiny came up. And Jane said, well, would you like a sandwich? And Tiny said, aren't you going to even ask my name? And Jane said, oh, yes, of course, what's your name? And she said, Tiny, which matched how she looked, because she was pretty young and small. And she said, what are you doing here? And Jane started to get, Tiny seemed kind of hostile, and she didn't understand. And she's like, well, I'm just trying to give people food. And Tiny said, why? And she said, well, I'm supposed to help people who are hungry, and nobody's taking the food. I don't understand. Tiny said, we don't take food from strangers. And Jane was getting kind of irritated at this point, and she said, well, what would you have done? And Tiny said, well, the city gave us a garden, but they gave us 1,000 turnip seeds. Do you want to eat 1,000 turnips? Do you think you'd like 1,000 turnips?
I think probably what we want to do is plant the turnip seeds.
They're supposed to plant the turnip seeds.
Plant it.
Would you like to eat turnips for days and days?
Well, that would be better than eating
No.
turnip seeds.
That'd be better than eating turnip seeds. Jude's got us there.
And it's also more food.
That's true, it's more food. Lexi says no, wouldn't like to eat that many turnips. What about you? Would you like to only eat turnips? No. And so she said, so we need good seeds. We need better seeds. We need more variety. We need stuff to help us plant. We need shovels and all kinds of things. And we need a grocery store in this area of town. I know a lot of you especially have heard about food deserts. There are places where there are no grocery stores nearby. And so people who don't have cars, they have to ride buses or get rides or go to extreme lengths to get food. And so Jane thought about this, and so she reworked her project. She went to her church, she went with her family to the city council, and she started asking people for good seeds, for things to help in the garden. Her church came out and helped the people in that area of town plant the seeds. And they started advocating for a grocery store in that area of town. Jane learned a really important lesson that day, that when you want to help people, it helps to start by asking them what they need. Thank you. Thanks for your help. Oh, yes.
What's Jenn gonna do with all those sandwiches? Yeah, what are we gonna do with all those sandwiches?
Maybe she should bring them to church for the bylaws meeting. That was a great question.
Our offering words today are by the Reverend Erica Hewitt. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. St. John's is committed to creating a safe and caring community, working for peace and social justice, and celebrating beliefs that respect freedom of thought. Thank you. was lovely, Stephen. Our reading today is called Listening, and it's by the Reverend Richard S. Gilbert. Listen. This is a noisy world. You may have heard of the story of a dispute in the student union of one university. It seems the presence of a jukebox disrupted conversations. Conversationalists petitioned for the removal of the offending machine. Music lovers petitioned to keep it, arguing that it was a very democratic machine. If you do not like what you hear, you can vote with your quarters to hear something else. But the conversationalists replied that what they wanted to hear, silence, was not among the options offered. The ingenious resolution was to include a 3-minute silent disc among the records. We are a verbal group. We are all good at talking. We string endless numbers of words together. Does the quality of the message vary in inverse proportion to the number of words uttered? Listening, the lost art, the gentle art. In my wiser moments, I know that one half of language is to listen. While I spend much of my time talking, I also do a fair amount of listening. It is hard to say which is of greater value. I do know that greater discipline is required to listen than to talk. To speak comes naturally for most of us. It's our default mode. We speak at the drop of a hint that there is someone who will listen. Charles Townsend Copeland, former beloved professor of English at Harvard, used 2 cramped and inconvenient rooms on the top floors of Hollis Hall. He resisted all attempts to move him to more spacious accommodations, maintaining that the top floor suited him perfectly. Quote, "It's the only place in Cambridge where God alone is above me. He's busy, but he's quiet." I read of one psychoanalyst who told, quote, the story of a patient whom he saw 3 times a week over a period of a year. At every session, the patient lay down upon the couch and plunged into free association. At the end of the year, the man pronounced himself cured and proffered his grateful thanks. The analyst declared that during the whole of this period, he had offered no interpretations whatever. In the Quaker tradition, we have liturgical silence, in which one listens to the Spirit before one speaks. However, as G.B. Shaw once said about the original form of Quaker worship, I believe in the discipline of silence and could talk about it for hours. I know what discipline this requires, for even when I am listening to another, I am often distracted, thinking ahead to what brilliant thing I am going to say in response. Listening, then, has a spiritual dimension. It suggests that I am not the center of the cosmos, but rather one source of words among others. It implies that I have no monopoly on wisdom, that true wisdom may be found in listening. Listen. Listen to what others have to say. There is wisdom in all you meet. Listen to the sounds of nature. It speaks and sings and makes music for those who pay attention. Listen. Listen to the impulses of your spirit. Take time to hear your inner yearnings, that still small voice drowned in the raucous shout. Listen. This is a noisy world. Perhaps this year we will listen. And now we will have hymn number 1029 in your turquoise book, Love Knocks and Waits for Us to Hear.
Please rise and embody your spirit.
In our offering, we talked about living our values. How many of you had the opportunity to live your values on the streets of Cincinnati and surrounding cities yesterday? Millions, I hear. The UUA became one of the sponsored partners of that expression of values. When she was alive, my grandmother was the person in my family that I was closest to. Granny and I shared a love of books. She was the first in my family to get a college degree. I was the second. We discussed politics and philosophy and disagreed about the value of the Electoral College. I feel like if she was alive now, I've won that one. She loved poetry and her family. And before I started moving around to different places in the country, I would make a point to visit her grave on a regular basis and read poetry to her, especially the ones she loved. And while I didn't believe her spirit remained with her body, I felt closer to her by following the ritual of going to her graveside and remembering her by offering something she loved. The end of this month is the pagan holiday of Samhain, followed closely by the Christian holidays of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. We see a similar holiday in Mexico called Dia de los Muertos, which is a mix of Mexican culture as well as Christian and ancient Aztec religious practices. Here at St. John's, we will honor, our Earth Spirit crew will honor Samhain with us next week, next Sunday. Each of these holidays is rooted in the idea that this is the time of year when the veil between life and death is thin. This is the time when those who have gone before us draw close. These holidays recognize something fundamental about human life, that it does end. And we who are left behind need ways and times to honor and remember those who have gone. We need a chance to recall memories that we cherish and feel the loss that makes us sad. But these holidays are about more than grieving those we were close to. They're an invitation to connect with ancestors we have known and those we will never know. The culture of the United States, especially the white dominant culture, struggles with the idea that the experiences and ideas of our ancestors matter. In fact, in this country, many of us are challenged by the idea that history matters at all. But what if there is value in striving to hear what our ancestors have to offer? Those who have gone before, having experienced things we will never understand, learn lessons we can benefit from, both in the times when they did things for which we would be proud and the times when they caused harm. And if we turn the coin over, the same could be said for us. We've done things that would make our ancestors proud and things they would have rejected for the harm that it caused. I've been thinking a lot about this as our country is pushed further from the aspirations that it has long held about who we wanted to be. And I believe those protests that many of us participated in yesterday would make many of our ancestors proud. Before Addie, our daughter, was born, my mother-in-law offered to do a family tree for me. Barb is fascinated by genealogy and has done a lot of research on Virginia, my wife's ancestors. She wanted our Addie to have access to all branches of her family tree. As I said yes to Barb's offer, it got me thinking then about the meaning of ancestors. Is my beloved grandmother my child's great-grandmother, even though they'll never meet? Is a biological connection required for that role? My family of origin doesn't have any experience of adopting or fostering children, so our family gatherings were always full of people who were biologically connected to me, people who shared a similar genetic background, as well as people who had grown up together. It was at these family gatherings that I learned the most about our family history, I thought. My family on both my parents' sides had been born in Kansas for at least 200 years. We had always been Northerners. And yet, when my mother-in-law completed her family history for me, I found out unexpected things. I found out one side of my family was from Georgia and North Carolina. I learned of an ancestor who fought in the Revolutionary War. I found out another man we thought was an ancestor wasn't. And I read the will of an ancestor who owned slaves. I read as he gave people's lives and independence to his wife and children. As I think about Addie, I consider this history. Does our child inherit my ancestors? Does she receive both the gifts and the baggage from my family tree? The answer is yes. And it's the LGBTQ community that taught me why. For many LGBTQ folks, coming out of the closet is a risky prospect. People lose friends. They are rejected by their family. This is likely one of the major contributing factors in a study that says LGBTQ youth comprise 40% of all youth experiencing homelessness. 40%, while they are 7% of the total youth population in the US. It's in these communities that the idea of family being more than blood has grown strong roots. LGBTQ plus communities remind us that family can be about the people that love you and the communities to which you belong. So what's that mean for all of us? As a white, female, lesbian, Unitarian Universalist minister, I'm not only the descendant of my parents and my somewhat unexpected family tree, I'm the descendant and recipient of white American culture, including white privilege and the results of systemic racism set up to benefit me because of the color of my skin. I'm also the descendant and recipient of the effort of women who fought for the vote, who fought for my right to speak as a minister. And it was a fight, even for Unitarian Universalists. Because I'm part of this community, I'm the adopted descendant of Universalists who taught about unconditional love and grace. I'm the descendant of Unitarians who fought both for and against slavery and who promoted education, both religious and secular. As a lesbian, I'm the descendant of women who had to hide their relationships with other women over the generations, and the descendant of LGBTQ plus folks who sometimes disregarded and marginalized one another. I'm the descendant of those who struggled for freedom, connection, and peace for themselves and others. My family tree is not just biological, it's also spiritual. It's tangled and complex and beautiful and frustrating, and why I'm here today. And you, my friends, have your own story, your own spiritual family tree full of people whose hopes, ideals, struggles, successes, failures have in part helped you be here today. There's so much we can learn from those who have gone before. And we are the descendants of people who have faced a fear-filled, divided nation and people who experienced the first global pandemic. We are the descendants of millions who, in their time, pushed the arc of the universe ever closer towards justice, love, and connection. And we can do that again. I encourage you to take some time this week to think about your ancestors, not just those with whom you share blood or a family or even the people who raised and loved you. Think about other communities as well, those you are part of because of the circumstances of your birth, but also about the families you chose, the communities you decided to join, We are the descendants of millions of ancestors from all of these families, and we will only ever know a fraction of their names. And yet, they live on in us. We are shaped by those who love us, those we let in our heart, but we also carry forward the work, the hopes, the love, the struggles, and the foibles of the chorus of people who have gone before. We can honor their gifts by remembering that all we build rests on a foundation created by generations. The work we do for justice and change in this world resonates and continues the work of millions of others. When we choose love over division, those who have shared those ideas through the ages continue to speak to and with us. As the veil thins, ultimately we can listen to the ancestors, both by honoring and continuing their work. And this doesn't mean dismissing the harm that has gone before. In fact, it means working to correct the mistakes that were built into the foundations on which we stand, even as we remember that others have been working to correct those mistakes too. We honor and listen to the ancestors by doing as Starhawk, a witch and activist, says, decide what is sacred to you and put your best life energies at its service. Make that the focus of your studies, your work, the test for your pleasures and your relationships. Don't ever let fear or craving for security turn you aside. My beloved spiritual companions, the veil is thinning. Who will we listen to this week? What communities are we a part of? What communities do we choose? May we embrace the invitation to pause, connect, and honor the work that has led us here today. We aren't alone in grief, and we've never been alone in striving to make this world better than it has been. May we lead lives that give our descendants a strong foundation on which to build. Amen. Blessed be. I think it's the rain making me thirsty today. So as we move into greeting your neighbor, as always, I invite you to greet someone maybe you don't know, or if you're feeling kind of extra introverted today, greet those around you. It's all fine. But a prompt for you is share an ancestor, biological or otherwise, that has inspired you. heaven. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. All right. Get them singing.
That's right. Though you don't have to sit, please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 83, Winds Be Still. And hopefully by the third verse, if you aren't familiar with it, you'll be familiar with it.
By telling you, the worship committee has decided to try an experiment, and we're going to start in November. And we're going to change a couple of things. We're going to move announcements to the top right after the gathering song. So don't be late. and we're going to try to keep those really short and tight, but we are going to move them to the beginning. If you're curious about why, please come and ask, because we have reasons. Also, we are going to start doing the food collection. You might see the basket down there. How many of you knew we used to do food collection? Some of you, but not everybody. So we're going to start doing food collection again during the service. It's going to be during the time when we do Blessing One Another song. So that's going to start on the 2nd as well. And we're going to start inviting families to help with the chalice lighting, and we're going to start that on the 2nd as well. So we're just going to hit you with a bunch of changes all at once. Feel free to offer feedback. Thank you. And it is an experiment. We're going to try it for a few months and assess, so you really can offer feedback. And also, interim time's good time to experiment because the interim minister leaves and they won't know what you change.
Okay, so please take a look at the announcements in the order of service. We're not going to announce any of those again except for one important one, and that is, oh, I'm sorry. One important one from the announcements in the order of service is that we are having an in-person presentation by the Bylaws Committee of the proposed changes. Directly after the service in Kroll Pfeiffer, and we also ask that people who are not going to stay for this presentation, let people who are staying go through the sandwich line first so that they can be fed before this happens. All right, also we have an announcement by Mary Lynn Schuster about circle suppers, which are back. This is our beloved tradition of potluck, she says, and if you would like to host, you pick a date between February and May and contact Mary Lynn Schuster.
She's raising her hand.
Oh, right there. I have an announcement so that there is a sign up for the soup and bread lunch, which is coming up soon in Hanley, which is the foyer, if any of you don't know what that means. So take a look at that, and if you are willing to help, please sign up. We have an announcement also from Nicole. The Out of the Darkness Walk, apparently, let's see, the Side with Love team, they were 8th out of 175 teams, raised $2,480, which is second highest year. So congratulations to everyone who participated in that. And the total raised since 2014 by St. John's teams is $23,057. That's quite substantial. Let's see. We also have an announcement that David Walker's photos are in Kroll Pfeiffer. Please take one as a remembrance of him. Okay. And I think those are all of the announcements that are not in your order of service. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. For those who came before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love. As we go forth from this time and place, let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Amen. Blessed be.